A good variety of stories here for you on this Tuesday at 6 a.m. So glad you're with us. I'm Eric Connard.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. And what you'll notice if you look out the window, maybe it's foggy. It's pretty gray, hard to see all around town right now, causing some dangerous driving conditions. We're also waiting to find out if this will impact perhaps your flights this morning.
And we have team coverage for you. Regina Yarita has a live look at the conditions. Vanessa Paz tracking the impact on traffic. But we begin with meteorologist Evan Ronnie with a look at this foggy forecast again here, Evan.
Yet again, and this morning we do have a dense fog advisory in effect that'll stay in effect all the way through 9 a.m. Visibility reduced by the coast down to less than 1/10 of a mile off toward areas like Miramar, Kearney Mesa, and some other spots around the county. North Island, for example, at less than a mile. We do have a mile of visibility in Carlsbad. Some of those numbers up toward North County are looking a bit better than they did yesterday, but this does look to be an issue that will mainly be affecting our coastline. Because of that, coastal temperatures, and with that fog sticking around longer through the day, we're expected to see those temperatures in the mid-60s. Whereas once you leave the coast and get inland, upper 70s this afternoon. Mid-70s toward the mountains, 85 for the deserts. So plenty of sunshine in the afternoon forecast away from the coastline, but it does look like those clouds will hug the coast yet again today. Want to send things over to Vanessa. She's checking in on how things are in terms of fog to start off the day.
Good morning. Time is 6:02 on your Tuesday morning. So this is a live look outside on the 5 in both directions right at Genesee. Coming at your screen is that southbound drive. Left side is the exit. And you could barely make out the cars. You could only really see the headlights there. A little improvement on the 5, but just again, as we mentioned, some areas down to less than a mile. So just make sure that your leaving time for travel is pretty widespread this morning. This is that drive headed into downtown. You could still see the lights of downtown San Diego, but again, visibility drops off, especially when you exit those major freeways and head onto the surface streets. All right, everything you see highlighted in the orangish color, orange yellowish colors, that's where we're seeing the worst of the fog. And right now we're tracking slowing already coming in from the South Bay, right around the 94 via the 805 north. All right, let's go ahead and send it over to CBS 8's Regina Yarita. She's live along Harbor Island with a look at those conditions and some important reminders. Hey, Regina.
Hey, good morning, Vanessa. Well, as Evan mentioned, there is a dense fog advisory this morning. We've been noticing that fog for the past couple of days, but it is a little bit more extensive today, making visibility a little bit more difficult for drivers who are heading out the door this dark and early. I want to show you some video of what San Diego looks like in certain areas. You can see throughout San Diego, just driving can be a little bit more dangerous. And again, it's because you can't really see with this fog. You'll notice this fog along highways too, so you'll want to slow down. Near the airport, we've also been seeing it in the past when fog gets this intense. San Diego Airport has called for a ground stop. We reached out to airport officials this morning about whether the fog has impacted any flights, but we're still waiting to hear back about this. If you're heading out the door this morning, the National Weather Service has important reminders for drivers. So here's a full screen for you. You'll want to pay extra attention on your driving this morning and be extra cautious. Slow down and allow yourself some extra time. Make sure you're using your low beam lights and that you're leaving room between your car and the cars next to you. If the view gets too difficult or too intense for you, then turn your hazard lights on and pull over. So back out here, as mentioned, we're still waiting to hear back from the San Diego Airport to hear if any flights have been impacted or if there could be some potential announcement on a ground stop. But of course, we'll be sure to share with you the latest once we hear back. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Regina, thank you for that. This morning, we are learning SDG&E bills will be getting even more expensive in the new year.
This comes as customers are already dealing with some of the highest energy rates in the entire country. I hear CBS 8's Chris Crow live outside of SDG&E headquarters with a closer look at how much more people are going to have to pay. Chris.
Yeah, good morning. And a lot of this based on a meeting that took place yesterday at City Council. SDG&E required to go to the City Council once a year to talk about current rates and what we could be seeing in the next year. And what we found out, of course, is that two factors are going to get more expensive on your bill: electric delivery as well as gas. Now, the reasons that were given, some of you at home may think, okay, it makes sense. Some of you at home may be left even more frustrated that things are getting more and more expensive. Now, as for what's going to be happening with electric delivery, that portion of your bill for the average typical home, it's going to go up about $3, from about $133 to $136. Now, that's not because, according to SDG&E, the customers are using more power, but because fewer people are buying it, leaving the same fixed costs to be paid by everyone else. So less people in the pool, the same amount, if not more money, being spread out amongst them. Then there's natural gas. The average gas bill only expected to go up about $1, but the company says that's tied to pipeline safety upgrades and state program costs. Now, we did speak to a consumer advocate, one that we have spoken to in the past, Edward Lopez, the executive director for the Utility Consumers Action Network. That's a nonprofit that advocates for the interest of the customers. He had this to say about the rates that we are already paying.
Diego customers are already paying among the highest rates in the country. Usually, sometimes we'll trade off with Hawaii, for example. Hawaii is an island. They have to import everything, including electricity. So they always have just astronomical electricity rates. I think now we're paying about 41.5 cents per kilowatt hour. That's hugely insane.
I want to read to you a statement that was put out by SDG&E. It reads, quote, at SDG&E, we work every day to manage our costs and develop programs and tools that help make energy more affordable and accessible. We know that any change in energy costs make a difference to our customers, and we work to keep bills as low as possible while continuing to deliver the safe, reliable energy that families and businesses across Southern California depend upon every day. That'll do it for us. We'll send things back to you in studio.
Chris, thanks for that. This just in here, U.S. employers added 64,000 jobs in November. However, the economy lost 105,000 jobs in October when federal workers left during cutbacks by the Trump administration. This is all according to new data just in from the Labor Department. The unemployment rate now 4.6%. This comes after job reports were delayed by the government shutdown.
This morning, the U.S. and Mexico have a new agreement to permanently end the Tijuana River sewage crisis. This deal is called Minute 333. It requires Mexico to develop infrastructure plans within 6 months and build new treatment facilities by the year 2028. Now, since the year 2018, more than 200 billion gallons of toxic sewage have crossed the border. Think about that, 200 billion gallons. Imperial Beach's Mayor Mitch McKay says he's cautiously optimistic. The operator of the South Bay wastewater treatment plant, Veolia, says the agreement, quote, formalizes a commitment from both governments to finally turn good intentions into action.
Thick fog out there today. Just be careful out on the roads. How long is fog going to stick around here today?
That dense fog advisory is in effect until 9 a.m.
Okay.
But it does seem, if we go by yesterday's rules, that we could be waiting until closer to noon or 1 p.m. for that fog to dissipate by the immediate coastline. Similar to when we talk about it in the summer months, when we have June gloom, for example, we are going to see the coastline, the immediate coast, as the last in line to see that sun. Whereas our inland valleys, our mountains and deserts, they may not even see as much of it once the sun does come up. In about a half hour or so, it should dissipate rather quick the farther east you are. We did break some records yesterday. Just goes to show that that fog has been no match the farther you are from the coast. Borrego, the farthest you can get from the coast in San Diego County, 83 degrees is what they got to yesterday. That old record was 81. That is a new record now for 2025. Set back previous record 1977, so quite an old record. Palm Springs got all the way up to 89 degrees yesterday. Their previous record was in 1980. Here's that live camera outside that shows the clouds hugging the floor. We don't have much in terms of mid-level or high-level clouds. In fact, it was great stargazing weather that we had to start off the morning, but now that that light is starting to come through, could affect your viewing abilities. Ramona right now is at 40 degrees. We still encourage the sweater, keeping it with you through the late night and early morning stretch. Miramar is at 45 degrees. Alpine should be warming up to 71 by this afternoon, and Campo will get all the way up to about 73 on that afternoon high. Let's take a look at what we have in terms of our rain chances, because this is something that we've been talking about pretty steadily. Right now, between now and Tuesday of next week, they stay at about 5% or below. But what we're going to be eyeing is the potential for a Christmas Eve and Christmas Day storm. It's all as this ridge of high pressure gets nudged off to the east. Every storm that we see in the meantime kind of gets thrown over the top of this ridge. But once that ridge makes its way far enough east, we will not be at the peak of that ridge and instead see the potential for rain in the forecast moving into the middle of next week. It's still far out for us to be able to give any specifics related to what that could really look like. So in the meantime, stay with CBS 8. We'll give you the latest model updates. But as you can see, this is going to change still, though. Rain coming by about Christmas Eve, Wednesday of next week, all the way down through about the LA area. Vanessa Paz is standing by, checking in on how fog is affecting that morning commute. How's it going?
Good morning. So things are looking pretty good on the 78 in both directions. This is right at Nordal, and you could see again, things are looking smooth coming in from Escondido. Meanwhile, this is the 5 in both directions, right at Genesee Ave, and this is where visibility is dropping off pretty heavily. In fact, this is at Drive southbound. Right side of your screen is at Drive headed northbound into the Del Mar area. All right, we're not seeing as much yellow across the maps than we did at the same time yesterday. But again, it is still very dense, especially when you get towards the metro area. 57-mile-per-hour speeds on the 805 North. That's coming in from the South Bay, traveling in from La Mesa as well as Santee, about 69, 75-mile-per-hour speeds, and same deal in from Oceanside and Escondido. We're getting reports of conduit pipes in the lanes, just spread through the lanes on the 78 right at San Marcos, so look out for that. As we pull up your travel times, anywhere between 12 to about double that in from Encinitas as well as Escondido. 78 full span inbound from the 15, about a 10-minute drive or so, 5 to 7 minutes on the 94, the 8, as well as the 52. And here's what's happening traveling in from the South Bay, 10 to 17 minutes in from San Ysidro on the 54 highway, full span of the Coronado Bridge inbound from Barrio, the downtown area towards the old toll booths will take you under 5 minutes. 6:12 is the time. Let's go ahead and pull up those border wait times and see what's happening there to get you across from San Ysidro's port of entry, about an hour and a half, and over that in from Otay Mesa's port of entry this Tuesday morning.